There are brand new paintings, sculpture and neon, alongside a historic film from the 1990s, which brings together Tracey Emin's exhibition, Living Under the Hunter's Moon, here at White Cube in Mason's Yard. Excitingly, this show also coincides with an exhibition which is on at the Royal Academy in London, just across the road, entitled Tracey Emin, Edvard Munch, Loneliness of the Soul. The Hunter's Moon, where this show gets its title, is typically defined as a full moon that appears either in October or November. The moon is also called the blood moon, and reference to it can be found frequently in traditional folklore, as this is the best time for hunters to track and catch their prey. Tracey, who famously suffers with acute insomnia, often finds herself painting throughout the night, guided by the moon, which stirs within her power, which can either comfort or create a time for imagination, longing and lust, or indeed a time where she can completely let herself loose, as if she's possessed by the moon's energy. A fantastic example of this energetic influence is a painting in the exhibition entitled Absolute Fucking Desperation. As you can see, the robust brushstroke is repeatedly overlaid in this swirling mass of blues, blacks, and red. However, upon closer inspection, you can see the outline of a figure, leg cocked, lying across the canvas, almost defiant as she looks through the swirls of paint. There is a real power to this painting. Another painting in the exhibition I wanted to draw your attention to is a painting entitled This Was the Beginning. You are at first struck with the blood-red contours of a reclining figure, set against the ghostly layered background. This figure is reduced to its most basic components, instantly recognizable, yet hovering between the space of figuration and abstraction. This figure acts as a vessel, which holds within it turmoil and passion, yet importantly, a sense of salvation. This was the beginning. When standing in front of a painting by Tracey Emin, you cannot help but feel overwhelmed by the melting pot of emotions which emanate from the surface of the canvas. Her honesty is potent. You feel it with every brushstroke. And it is this honesty which commands our attention, asking us to look deep within ourselves in response. It's impossible to be passive or a passive bystander when confronted with one of Tracey's paintings. Placed defiantly amongst the canvases is the bronze sculpture entitled There Was So Much More of Me. The legs are splayed apart, almost echoing the legs of the painting placed on the wall next to it. The pose is one of supplication, and yet it feels bold, strong, and defiant. A figure taking control of this erotic, normally submissive position. Tracey has been working over the last 5 years on these large-scale bronze works, tirelessly experimenting to ensure that the profound details and effect of her hand, which you see on the smaller works, is scaled up and just as potent in these larger examples. The first examples of Tracey's large-scale bronze works were first seen at White Cube, Bermondsey in 2019 in her exhibition entitled A Fortnight of Tears. Within the exhibition, we then move through to the film Homage to Edvard Munch and All My Dead Children, the film that she created in 1998. The room is dark and silent, the walls bare. Our attention is completely focused on the image of Tracey curled up in the fetal position on the end of the pier. The pier is in fact a view from Edvard Munch's house in Askåstrand in Norway. The sun is dazzling and bouncing off the waters. It is such a calm, surreal and peaceful moment, yet through the sun and the sound of the lapping of the water, there is an unrest, and we wait. A few minutes later, a deep and agonized scream fills the air. The scream is full of emotion. It feels so real. The hairs on your arms stand up in reaction. The piece is shattered. This scream, which comes deep from inside Tracey, is an ode to Edvard Munch and a reference, of course, to the most famous work, The Scream. The last room we enter glows warm and yellow, almost an escape from the screams of the previous room. In this quiet corner sits the maquette of Tracey's famous sculpture, The Mother, a public art commission permanently sited in the city of Oslo's Museum Island, and which will be inaugurated in 2021. When looking closely at these incredible small bronze works, you see the hand of the artist, her fingers pushing and pulling the clay, bringing this mother to life. The mother is, of course, a symbol of refuge and femininity, yet it also acts as a gift from Tracey to Munch. Munch, whose mother died when he was very young, never really knew that motherly love. To end the exhibition, we're confronted with the words, "I made my way to you," perhaps a message from one artist to another. Munch being the artist who has inspired Tracey from when she was very young, from when she first started discovering the world of fine art, which she now so famously sits at the forefront of.